Hello, everyone. Yes, I should be live. Let's just see. I'll just refresh this, and I've already shared the link everywhere, so there's no big deal. So there we go. I should go live now. I've already shared the link everywhere. So yes, I am. Oh, great. How are you all? Oh, you know what I need? As always, the good old specs. Yeah, how you doing? Hello, David Splendid Ice. Hello. How are you, David? Yes. How do you do? Neil Peel has got to go, but no, Neil says, good evening, all. Probably won't be able to join the live stream. Good luck with it. I suspect the whistleblower Ross Coulthard are probably CIA assets playing a game. I disagree, Neil. I'll explain why, but thank you very much. Hello, David Splendid Isolation. It bloody isn't it, David? Yeah. David Smith says, we can't trust the government. They do psyops and use disinfo unless they claim something we believe in without good evidence. Then they're likely telling the truth, lol. Well, this the evidence we'll be looking at, David. And as I said before, you can't just say, well, everything's fixed, everything's rigged is not the answer, in my belief. No, this lives matter. I only read the headlines. Are you going to bring us up to speed? Yes, I am. How do you do? Hello, Seth. How you doing? Oh, my God. Is this bigger than Schofield rogering his runner? I'm guessing so. I don't like to speculate, but hello. Who else have we here? We have C.O. How are we living? This could be historic. It may well, yes. Good evening, body technician. Bernie Tucker. Good evening, Ben, sir. Good evening, Ben. I can't wait for another great program. Keep up the good work, sir. I will try, Bernie. Thank you very much. Greetings, balloons. Hello, Pete. I'm glad David Grusch went public and shouted it from the rooftops. Makes it harder for him to disappear. Well, this is it. I mean, I don't think he's in any danger. I'll say more about that as we go along. I don't think actually he's in any danger. He's not in hiding at all. I'll tell you more about that now. Yeah. By now, guys, says David, you'll have seen David Grusch's testimony that the U.S. military have indeed recovered many intact and partly intact non-human craft. Isn't that quite something, eh? Ain't that something? Hello, Popcorn Boxing. Where are you? Hello. Israel Diego Rivera genius to the real genius. Hello to you. I'm keenly waiting to see Ross Coulthard's sit-down interview with Grusch soon. Well, we're going to see a little bit of it, aren't we? We're going to see a little bit. I'm going to show you a clip from it. That's what's been published so far. Tina, Nanu. Oh, I could do a Robin Williams' sense of humour right now. How are you, Tina? Hello, Lee Radford. I'm looking forward to this. I've said poking. I'm poking forward to this. I hope you can if you like, mate. Hugo Rune, greetings. Thanks for joining BitChute, mate. Thank you. What's David Jones's take on this? He said, I don't know. I think I'm just going to go back and get out the sun. Are all mass shootings in America fixed? No, I don't think so. No. Balloon, yeah, get the popcorn out, balloons. Balloon, you're in America now. Good for you, mate. Hello, Darren H. How you doing, mate? How you doing? Well, yeah. So thanks for joining me. I've got 25 people watching already. Been going 3 minutes. So, I mean, a few more people might get some latecomers, but I did share the link earlier on. Actually, I shared it. I shared the link to the notice earlier this afternoon. As soon as I set up the stream, I shared the link to the player literally about a quarter of an hour ago. So hopefully, some more people will be joining us soon. That's be good. I've got different colour dragon juice. Well, it's actually the dragon juice is actually transparent when I hold it over there. But you can see it's actually black. I've got black dragon juice. I've got to stir it a bit actually. It's actually pomegranate juice from my daughter's health food shop. Hello, David Schultz. Welcome. How are you? Watch the skies. Yeah, you're not far from where this is going on. Actually, it's all kicking off in like Washington and that area. It's not far from you. Yeah, it's been exciting, guys. It's been really exciting. I mean, I'm sorry I didn't give much notice. I mean, last night. What? I'm baffled. I'm not on BitChute. Well, there's someone impersonating you then, Hugo. You got a double. You've got someone cloning you. Hello, the lights below. How do you do? Anyway, we'll go into that later. It's someone is on BitChute saying they're you and talking to me on BitChute. Just to let you know. Hello, Rick Horden. Watcher of the skies is watcher of us all. Yeah. I mean, I'll come out with it now. Could this be the big D disclosure moment? We'll talk about that. We'll ask. David said, "Splendid. It is exciting news. It is. We'll go into that." And Tina says here, last night the strawberry full moon. Yes, it is. Tina, it's also D-Day. And I don't know about. It's actually the 79th anniversary of D-Day. I don't know if if there's anything particular about that, whether that's there for a reason. The lights below. This should be on YouTube. Yes. I haven't had another ban. If you can hear me, this is only going live on one platform, which is YouTube right now. I will, of course, download it and I will disseminate it, proliferate it, to make sure it doesn't just vanish into the ether. I've also found a way of recording it as well, so I will be doing that. Tina, your granddad was at D-Day. Oh, cool. Was he? Oh, bless him. Hello, Eleonora. David's 70th anniversary next year. Yeah, Band of Brothers. Yeah, there'll be a lot of things next year for that. Will mankind come together now and fight the aliens? Balloons. I'm sure they don't go giving them ideas now. All right, don't go giving them ideas. Nihilist Lives Matter. A message has been received from the aliens. They said Earth people should take the V word. Mars stand with Ukraine. Earth trans women are Earth women. And Joe got the most votes in galactic history. You know what? Nihilist Lives Matter. Yeah, Blue Beam, exactly. What Nihilist Lives Matter says here is actually a joke, of course. I know you're being funny, but many a true word is spoken in jest. I think we should be on our guard against. I don't like my eyes reflecting this. I don't really. I don't need my glasses because I can just do that, so I can read. I can just read you that way. I don't like my eyes reflect off the. I should have got the anti-reflective coating on my glasses. I'll put them on later when I'm reading because I do have to read from a web page in a minute. But seriously, Nihilist, I know you've been funny, but many a true word is spoken in jest. There could come a situation where, I've talked about this many, many times before, that we may get some kind of fake disclosure that will be attached to some kind of threat, a real threat, not just the word threat, Less than average says, no aliens, mate, no outer space stuff at all. Nonsense, not true. I know you, and by the way, you look like Ian Dury. I know you're not because he died, but I think you look a bit like Ian Dury there. Could it be that this could be many things? If it is big D disclosure, will it be real big D disclosure? Because, as you know, if you've read Roswell Rising, a novel of disclosure, available at all good bookshops now, £10, you will know that the path to disclosure is actually long and tortuous in this book, and it starts with fake disclosure. That's not a... Yeah, Ian Dury, you look like him, less than average, and you have. Okay, so... Now, I must apologise for the fact I didn't have... I've thought about doing a live stream tomorrow night, but I thought... I think I could get another ban. This thing with the ban has kind of like made... That's why I've been uploading videos 2 at a time as well. You may have noticed I uploaded 2 videos at a time last Thursday, and I uploaded 2 videos. I uploaded 3 videos just a few days earlier on the Sunday. Do you see what I mean? So I thought that's one reason I didn't want to delay, and I wanted to do the live stream tonight. Another reason is because things are moving so quick, I might have to do another one tomorrow. So I wanted to get this one out of the way just in case. Now, the whole story which I'm talking about, it broke. They said it was very precise, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 1 p.m. British summertime. The article landed. It was a lot of ceremony, a lot of like historical. A lot of historical destiny charged with this. 1 p.m. British summertime yesterday, the article landed, and then I got home from work, and someone had left me a message saying, "Ben, have you seen this?" And I looked, and I thought, blimey. But then at that time, I was preparing for my comments reply video, so I needed to get that. Once I started my comments reply video, I wanted to finish it. I finished it sort of around about 9 p.m. and I was getting tired. I read through the article and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to do a live stream now. But I had to upload my comments reply video, which I did. That was actually the early hours of the morning by the time I finished that. I was sort of sleeping in between. Right, this is interesting. David says all the major newspapers have covered it today. Well, some of them have, not all, but some of them have, David. We'll be going through some of those this evening. We'll be going through all the papers that have covered it or haven't covered it. But it's it's very interesting, yeah. Diego Rivera, are you telling me the UFOs upstaged Philip Schofield? Now that is a good sign, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, Vrillon, you've read it. Nice one, mate. Nice one. Have you read part 2? And it's just part 2 there. But if you read part 2, there's a part 3 as well, which you might like. David, I think this is still slow disclosure, but the pace is picking up. Well, you see, this is what we want to go about. What exactly are we looking at here? What exactly are we looking at here? What did he say? Non-Earth origin. It's pretty unequivocal. I mean, I was really surprised at how simple and how unqualified his words were. We'll be hearing those. Less than average says, I've subscribed to you for a decade or more. You're an interesting guy, but outer space and paranormal stuff, I don't share your enthusiasm. Oh, well, less than average. Thanks very much for subbing to me. And I hope some of my material you do like. You don't, not everyone's going to like all of it. Diego Rivera, I might have to write a part 4 now. Anyway, when I was too tired to really get into it when I finished my comments reply videos, I had to go to bed out to work the following day. I was already sleeping between hello, Stephen Truth Seeker, how are you? What's happening? Well, I'll explain everything. I had to just sort of sleep between while I was uploading it, and then I was too tired to really go into any more detail. By the time I got to work, I was like flicking through my phone every moment I could, and I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna have to do a live stream. And so I thought, what I'll do is I'll go home and put the notice up and do one Wednesday evening. But then I thought, hang on. Then I saw some more publications, and I thought, oh my, this is progressing so fast. I better do one this evening. So I better put a notice up and say, sorry, I'm going to do this. Sorry for the short notice. I'm doing one tonight. So that's all right. Just saying, because I might have to do another one tomorrow. I'd like to do another one tomorrow. Anyway, this was the article. It's in the debrief. Science, tech, space, defense, aerospace, UAP. See, it's podcasts. It has podcasts. Oh, cool. What's its podcast? It's like, hey, nice. Well, I think I've listened to some of these. Micah Hanks. Yeah, hello, Micah Hanks. Anyway, don't want to get distracted. This intelligence officials say U.S. has retrieved craft of non-human origin by Leslie Kane and Ralph Blumenthal, June the 5th, 2023. So that's not D-Day. Today's D-Day. Yesterday was this when this happened. A former intelligence official turned whistleblower. Can you all see me still? I hope you can all see me still. Cool. Hello, Diazepam. How you doing? Turned whistleblower. Now, they're calling this guy a whistleblower. I don't think that's strictly correct. I mean, it's a word that many, many people have used. I prefer the word an insider, because the reason is a whistleblower suggests that there's something illicit in what he's doing when it's at least, I know for a fact, I'll go into more details about this. I know for a fact that at least some of the military intelligence community is behind him. I mean, this is the thing. He's given, and also he hasn't released any classified information. He's talked about what he's seen. He hasn't released any documents or anything like that. He's done nothing illegal. Oh, he's given Congress and the intelligence community, Inspector General, extensive classified information about deeply covert programs that he says possess retrieved, intact, and partially intact craft of non-human origin. I mean, that's pretty. There's nothing maybe. There's no maybe. There's no, well, they look a bit like this. They could be, what was it? The Giorgio Tsoukalos meme? It's not aliens, but it might be aliens, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it is the aliens. No, this is very unequivocal. This is very blunt. It's simple facts that he's relating. His language is very simple. I should point out this guy, you may have heard, I mentioned this on my interview with Steve Bassett recently. As you can find on my channel, I uploaded it last week. that some people, some insiders, whistleblowers. I say whistleblowers is the wrong word, but some witnesses have been testifying under oath in closed hearings at Congress, and Mr. Grusch is one of them. He says the information has been illegally withheld from Congress. Yeah, it's apparently Arrow have been sold a fake story. They've been someone's gaslighting Arrow over this. And he will say more about that in a minute. But I could explain that ridiculous Senate hearing a couple of months ago, or last month, whenever it was. He's filed a complaint alleging he suffered illegal retaliation for his confidential disclosures, reported here for the first time. Obviously, this illegal retaliation is not that serious because he's still walking around free. That's not a reason why that's not a reason to discredit him, by the way, although many will see it that way. Other intelligence officials, both active and retired, with knowledge of these programs through their work at various agencies, have independently provided similar corroborating information, both on and off the record. Yeah, we're actually going to talk about, we'll mention a couple of those names because they are public. It's not just, somebody somewhere. No, they've actually, their names are known. The whistleblower is called David Grusch, a 36-year-old. He's not very old. He's quite young. A decorated former combat officer in Afghanistan, a veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. So that's connected to things like, connected to the Space Force and things like that, and the National Reconnaissance Office. So this is basically electronic intelligence. He served as the Reconnaissance Office's representative of the UAPTF from 2019 to 21. From late 21 to July 22, he was the NGA's co-lead for UAP analysis and its representative to the UAPTF. And there he is. Ross Coulthard has vouched for him. Those medals and things and patches are real. The task force was established to investigate what were once called unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. I still call them that. They're officially called unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP. Yeah, they keep changing the name. It used to be unidentified aerial phenomena, but they say, well, some can go underwater, so we'll just say anomalous. Then we can keep the same logo. We can keep the same acronym. The task force was led by the Department of the Navy. Under the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security. That's basically Donkey and Conkerhead. Scott Bray and Ronald Moultrie. It has since been reorganized and expanded into the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW, to include investigations of objects operating underwater, and that's it. Grusch said the recoveries of partial fragments through and up to intact vehicles have been made for decades, and there's a hyperlink here, which takes me to Politico. If the government has UFO crash retrieval materials, it's time to reveal them, and they've got the same sign I've got in my background. I think I've used this before, actually, this sign. I think I have used this UFO crash site sign before. Yes. So they've been made for decades through to the present day by government, its allies, and defense contractors. That includes Britain. Analysis has determined that the objects retrieved are of exotic origin, non-human intelligence, whether extraterrestrial or unknown origin. Well, the thing is, if they're non-human, then it's unlikely they originate from this Earth. It's something that's visiting this Earth from another place. This is interesting. Based on the vehicle morphologies and material science testing and the possession of unique atomic arrangements and radiological signatures, that means things such as isotopic ratio, where you can tell that material does not come from the Earth. Vehicle morphologies must mean things like design. I remember that one of the last news reports before the Roswell went black was they said it appears to have no means of obvious propulsion, is built like a box kite. In filing his complaint, Grusch is represented by a lawyer who served as the original Intelligence Community Inspector General, ICIG. We're not talking about prosaic origins or identities, Grusch said. Referencing what's this? All prompts. Oh, it's bloody chatbot thing. I don't want that. Referencing information he provided Congress and the current ICIG. The material includes intact and partially intact vehicles. That's not prosaic. Prosaic meaning down to earth, human made, or identities. That is China and Russia, man. Yeah. Or drones. Or weather balloons. In accordance with the protocols, Grusch provided the Defense Office of Pre-Publication and Security Review at the Department of Defense. That's basically, this is why I say I don't call him a whistleblower. He's gone through the correct channels before speaking out. This Defense Office of Pre-Publication Security Review is basically it's something if you want to talk about. I mean, people like military veterans who write memoirs, for example, have to do this. There's an author I know who used to write various naval dramas and thrillers and things. He had to do this with his own work because he had to check that there was nothing classified within it, because of course he did have classified information, having a security clearance at the level needed to operate a warship. And so it looks like Grusch has done this. He acted in accordance with protocols. And his on the record statements were cleared for open publication back in April. Now, so what he's saying does have official approval from at least some of the establishment. It doesn't mean everyone within the establishment is delighted about this. I'm sure there are those that are not. I talked before about how there seems to be some conflict within the deep state over how to handle this issue. Grusch's disclosures and those of non-public witnesses under new protective provisions. Oh, that's the Gillibrand Amendment for the latest defense appropriations bill. Signal a growing determination by some in government to unravel a colossal enigma with national security implications that has bedeviled the military and tantalized the public going back to World War II and beyond. Yeah, how long has this been bloody going on for? For many decades, the Air Force carried out a disinformation campaign to discredit reported sightings. Yeah, Project Blue Book, Mockingbird. There's Richard Doty, what he did and stuff like that. Now, with the 2 public hearings and many classified briefings under its belt, the Congress is pressing for answers. Is the US Congress finally growing a bloody pair of balls? About time. Carl E. Nell, a recently retired Army colonel and current aerospace executive who was the Army's liaison for the UAPTF, 21 to 22, worked with Grusch then and characterized Grusch as beyond reproach. Now, presumably the UAPTF that was before it changed its name to AIMSOG, I'm guessing. There he is, this Carl E. Nell. So he's back. This guy is a senior officer. He was colonel. Currently works for an aerospace company. He's vouching for Grusch. Christopher Mellon. That name keeps coming up. We'll be talking more about him later. Who spent nearly 20 years in the U.S. intelligence community and served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence. Has worked with Congress for years on the UAP phenomenon. UAP. A number of well-placed, this is a quote here from Mellon, a number of well-placed current and former officials have shared detailed information with me regarding this alleged program, including insights into the history, governing documents, and the location where a craft was allegedly abandoned and recovered. Just one? This alleged program. It's not an alleged. Well, I guess it's not an alleged program anymore. Maybe Grusch has been the guy. Maybe he's serving some purpose for a higher agenda. The fact that he's been allowed to do this, what that agenda is. I know some people will say it's not what it appears to be. We'll see how that goes. A location where a craft was allegedly abandoned and recovered. Now that could be Roswell. It could be one of any number of crash retrieval instances. I mean, abandoned and recovered is a bit ambiguous. Some people have interpreted this as they parked it somewhere, then went away, and thought we'll come back for it later, but they got distracted. Maybe they went to Las Vegas and got drunk. I don't know. However, says Mellon, it's a delicate matter getting this potentially explosive information into the right hands for validation. This is made harder by the fact, rightly or wrongly, a number of potential sources do not trust the leadership of Arrow established by Congress. Well, yeah, I mean, we saw that with Kirkpatrick, didn't we? And indeed, Kirkpatrick was also facing NASA the other day as well. I wrote an article about that. But I've written an article about this whole business. Where is it? If you want to know, I've actually put this article up as well if you want to see it. I wrote that today. government official confirms UFOs, which is true. It's just brief, but it gives some more details. It gives a brief overview of what I'm talking about here. Some insiders are now willing to risk coming forward for the first time with knowledge of these recovery programs. You see, this is what I mean. This is what Ross Coulthart and Bryce Zabel were saying on Need to Know. This, even if this sort of fizzles a little bit, it will trigger something within other people. Other people are going to see this and they're going to want to emulate it. There's no real going back from this. I mean, Jonathan Gray is a generational officer of the United States intelligence community with top secret clearance. Currently works at the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, NASIC, where the analysis of UAP has been his focus. Previously, he'd experienced serving a private aerospace and Department of Defense special directive task forces. The non-human intelligence phenomenon is real. We are not alone, Grace said. Again, it's simple language there. It's not like there's no umming and ahhing like you got with the congressional hearing last year. Do you remember the Congress people were like saying that Scott and Bray were sitting there and these guys were pushing them, like Gallagher himself was like pushing them to say, you're the guys who know about this. What is it? What have you learned? And they were going, kind of like, well. Retrievals of this kind are not limited to the United States. This is a global phenomenon, yet a global solution continues to elude us, says Jonathan Gray. Well, the global solution is there, obviously, which is America runs the show, and it's a complete cover-up. We saw this with Virginia very obviously. At the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, Grusch served as a Senior Intelligence Capabilities Integration Officer, cleared top secret compartmented information level, was the agency's Senior Technical Advisor for UAP analysis, transmedium issues. Again, that's one of the observables. From 2016 to 21, he served with the NRO as a Senior Intelligence Officer and led production of the NRO's Director Daily Briefing. Right, so he was basically involved with putting together reports like what you'd have seen with the UAPTF report. Grusch this is his rank here, GS-15, the civilian rank, which is the military equivalent of a colonel. So he's very senior in that case. He was very high up in these intelligence agencies. Grusch has served as an intelligence officer for over 14 years, a veteran of the Air Force, etc. Covert clandestine operations. According to her 2021 NRO performance report, Grusch was intelligence strategist with multiple responsibilities who analyzed aerial phenomena, UAP reports, boosted congressional leadership, intel, and understanding. Yeah, he'd have been one of the consultants of things like the UAPTF report, etc., all the kinds of things that people talk about him here. That's just that's his appraisal, basically. Grusch prepared many briefs on UAP for Congress while in government and helped draft the language on the UAP. That's interesting for the FY 2023 National Defense Authorization Act. That is where this clause came in, allowing people to breach their security oaths. I mean, we've been through this before, haven't we? I think we've seen this document I showed on a previous live stream. We have actually been through this. Spearheaded by Senators Kirsten Gillibrand and Marco Rubio. Yeah. Signed into law by President Biden, or by somebody anyway. I don't think I think a quivering fingerprint on a piece of document doesn't really count as a signature, so someone else must have done it. The provision states that any person with relevant UAP information can inform Congress without retaliation, regardless of any previous non-disclosure agreements. And we talked about this on a previous live stream, how important that was. This essentially is a kind of truth and reconciliation clause, which, as Dolan and Zabel predicted in their book, AD After Disclosure, it would be essential if we're going to have any kind of disclosure. You have to lift the weight of personal punishment from anyone involved with the secrecy if we're going to have any kind of disclosure. And this does it. The Gillibrand Amendment does that. In his statements cleared for publication by the Pentagon in April, Grusch asserted that UFO legacy programs have long been concealed within multiple agencies, nesting UAP activities in conventional secret access programs without appropriate reporting to various oversight authorities. Isn't that what we've always said? Isn't that how we said that it was all organized that way? We've always said that it will be within something like a special, the Black Budget Special Access Program. It would have some. It would be a secret organization with a misleading name, like the Department of Naval Intelligence, which keeps coming up over and over again, which technically doesn't exist. He said he reported to Congress on the existence of decades-long, publicly unknown Cold War for recovered and exploited physical material. Unknown Cold War for. This is a publicly unknown Cold War for recovered. That's a strange sentence. Doesn't make sense. Needs editing, that. But I get the point they're making. This is basically using, and indeed the Soviets would have done the same thing in Cold War, using anything they discovered from these crash retrievals to see if they could weaponize it as a part of the Cold War. A competition with near-peer adversaries over the years to identify UAP crash landings and retrieve the material for exploitation reverse engineering to guard an asymmetric national defense advantages, which is just another way of what I've just been saying. The both sides in the Cold War would want to use this to see what they could get from it, like they did for everything in the Cold War. Everything was potentially weaponized if it could be used. Even psychic powers, if you've ever seen Third Eye Spies. Beginning in 2022, Grusch provided Congress with hours of recorded classified information, transcribed into hundreds of pages, which included specific data about the material recovery program. Materials probably that's involved. That's probably more something higher up than what Bigelow was involved in with Bass, and when he was connected to ATIP stroke ORSAP. Because it looks like a lot of these official organizations, as we've seen, are just, they're there to act as a demi-monde between the secret government and the public, but to mislead the public. And instead, in the way they are themselves misled. Project Blue Book was used in this way. Congress has not been provided with any physical materials related to wreckage or other non-human objects. I expect there are people within Congress who have, but it's not been done officially. Grusch's investigation was centered on extensive interviews with high-level intelligence officials, some of whom are directly involved with the program. Yeah, I bet that Nell guy is probably one of them. He says the operation was illegally shielded from proper congressional oversight and that he was targeted and harassed because of an investigation. Well, this thing illegally shielded from Congress, again, that happens over and over again, but there's so much within the US establishment that does that anyway, the special access programs, Area 51, things like that. It is illegal. I mean, technically it's unconstitutional, but that's why people have said that they talk about the secret government, the military industrial complex, the shadow government. Grusch said that the craft recovery operations are ongoing at various levels of activity, and he knows the specific individuals, current and former, who are involved. Blimey. Yeah, I mean, I'm quite certain that these things happen. The most recent one I can think of actually is Pentech. I'm sure that was a crash retrieval of some kind. It was something did come down to the ground, and was something that happened on the ground as a result of that. Some material was recovered. But there's others. I mean, the thing in Nottinghamshire, I think, was another. Individuals on these UAP programs approached me in my official capacity and disclosed their concerns regarding a multitude of wrongdoings, such as illegal contracting against the federal acquisition regulations and other criminality. Illegal contracting against the federal acquisition relations. That's probably, I don't know exactly what that means. It sounds very much like bringing in people like the Wilson Davis memo talked about, bringing in private companies without proper authorization to act as essentially outsourced managers for this whole situation. The suppression of information across a qualified industrial base and academia, he stated. Funnily enough, Gary Nolan, who's in academia, said something similar. He talked about that, something similar. Associates who vouched for Grusch said his information was highly sensitive, providing evidence that materials from objects of non-human origin are in the possession of a highly secret black programs. Although location, program names, and other specific data remain classified, the Inspector General and Intelligence Committee staff were provided with these details. Right. So he did actually say more to them than he's saying to the public. Obviously, like, this is why he's not a whistleblower. As Coulthard said, he's no Edward Snowden. Several current members of the recovery program spoke to the Inspector General's office and corroborated the information Grusch had provided for the classified complaint. Grusch left government on the 7th of April in order to advance government accountability through public awareness. That's similar to Elizondo, really, isn't it? He remains well supported within intelligence circles, and numerous sources have vouched for his credibility. That's interesting, you see, because that's something you couldn't say that for Elizondo. I get the impression Elizondo is not that popular with officers still within the situation. I mean, there's some ex officers who were on his side, like Mellon, but he doesn't seem to have a very good relationship with them. I mean, I may be wrong, but he doesn't. Whereas this guy does. His assertion concerning the existence, this is Carl Nell speaking now, the retired Army colonel, of a terrestrial arm race occurring sub rosa, that means in secret, over the past 80 years. Bloody hell, 80 years. That's going back into World War II. Focused on reverse engineering technologies of unknown origin is fundamentally correct. Well, it may have been World War II itself that launched this program, because there was a crash in 1936 in the Black Forest, which the Nazis dealt with. Could well be. And it seems like at Roswell they already knew what they were doing. Did you notice that? It appeared that there was already a detachment of people who knew what they were doing. As is the indisputable realization, at least some of these technologies of unknown origin derive from a non-human intelligence. And this is all the kinds of things we were yelling at them. We were saying to these people, weren't we, months ago? Oh, come on, just come out and say it. Stop beating around the bush and whinging about balloons and temperature inversions. Come on, you know what you keep eliminating all these things and then saying, well, we just don't know what they are. They're sort of known unknowns and unknown unknowns, and things like that. That UAP, that frustrating UAPTF report, this sense of this sort of like running on the spot, plodding in circles, reinventing the wheel, and now they come out and say technologies of this is just so unequivocal, it's unbelievable, says Carl Nell, the retired Army colonel who worked with Grusch on the UAP task force. In 2022 performance evaluation, Laura A. Potter, no relation to Harry, Deputy Chief of Staff for Intelligence Headquarters Department of the Army, described Nell as an office with the strongest possible moral compass. We need people like that. Grusch is represented by Charles McCulloch III, a senior partner of the Compass Rose Legal Group in Washington, and the original Inspector General of the intelligence community. Well, that could be described as vested interests, but what the hell? This was confirmed by the US Senate in 2011. At that time, McCulloch reported directly to them. Yeah, that's kind of a conflict of interest more than a vested, but there's nothing against the law with that. I think it's The Director of National Intelligence, James R. Clapper, I could always never forget that name because he himself has said things about UFOs, oversaw intelligence officers responsible for audits, inspections, and investigations. By audits, I don't mean going up to security guards at building sites and sort of trying to get them to shout at you. In May 2022, McCulloch filed a disclosure of urgent concerns, complaint of reprisal on behalf of Grusch with the ICIG about detailed information that Grusch had gathered beginning 2019 while working at the UAPTF. An unclassified version of the complaint provided to us, that's Blumenthal and Kane, states that Grusch has direct knowledge that UAP-related classified information has been withheld and or concealed. I don't know what the difference is between those two words. From Congress by, quote, elements, unquote, of the intelligence community to purposely and intentionally thwart legitimate congressional oversight of the UAP program. In other words, like Arrow, I think they've used Arrow to do this, quite frankly. This could account for the nonsense coming out of the hearings with Kirkpatrick. Did you see that NASA one the other day? My God, it was boring. I was sitting there going, come on, say something interesting, will you? Say something interesting. And then suddenly realized 4 hours had gone past, and I thought, well, I could have been doing other things in that time. All testimony Grusch provided for the classified complaint was under oath. It was provided under oath. He has testified under oath to Congress, yeah. According to the unclassified complaint in July 21, Grusch had confidentially provided classified information to the DoD IG concerning the withholding of UAP-related information from Congress. Right. This was his complaint. It sounds like it's a complaint, but he went through the correct channels. It was official grievance. He believed that his identity and the fact that he had provided testimony were disclosed to individuals and or entities within the Department of Defense and the intelligence communities outside the IG office. He did not allege that this information was improperly disclosed by any member of that office. Well, someone improperly disclosed it. If that was actually improper behavior, that's actually not what normally these things are confidential and the identity is confidential when you do these complaints. As a result, Grusch suffered months of retaliation and reprisals related to these disclosures beginning in 2021. That happens in bloody the NHS, I'll tell you, it does. He asked that details of these reprisals be withheld to protect the integrity of the ongoing investigation. Right, my guess is, obviously, this isn't like he's not at risk of being shot or run over or anything like that. Otherwise, he'd be in hiding. My guess is this kind of like workplace bullying kind of thing. He probably got a lot of, you know, it's like with office politics, how they'll pick on certain people. It was probably something like that. The Intelligence Community Inspector General found his complaint credible and urgent. In July 2022, according to Grusch, a summary was immediately submitted to the DNI. Avril Haines, yes, the person who invented the word extraterrestrially, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. The complaint was drafted and signed by McCulloch and his managing partner. It ended with Grusch's signature. Attached to his statement, I do solemnly affirm under penalties of perjury that the contents of the foregoing paper are true and correct to the best of my knowledge. So, in other words, it's like an affidavit. He can't lie in that legally, otherwise he gets into trouble. A whistleblower reprisal investigation was launched, and Grusch began his communication with the staff of the Congressional Intelligence Committees in private closed-door sessions. So this is, he's actually, this is where he's basically complaining about how he's been treated. According to Grusch, certain information which he obtained in his investigation could not be put before congressional staffers because they did not have the necessary clearances or the appropriate investigative authority. Right, so it's a level of class. It's still, even though he provided unclassified documents to this newspaper, Debrief Magazine, there is a classified level to his complaint, which some staff members of Congress are not cleared to look at. They don't have the authority to look at. All right. A representative of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence told us in March that the committee members are not able to comment on the content of a complaint or confirm the identity of the complainant, although he claims his identity was leaked. When you have multiple agencies nesting UAP activities in conventional special access programs and something CAP, I don't know what C stands for, classified access programs, I suppose, both as recipients of exploitation-related insights for operational reasons, without appropriate reporting to various oversight authorities, you have a problem, Grusch said, referencing the highly secret special access programs, controlled access programs. Grusch's willingness to take risks and speak out appears to be emboldening others with similar knowledge who believe in greater transparency. That's the key point. I think this is why this could be a beginner disclosure, a process for big D disclosure. This literally could be the moment when the tipping point came, and which will mean in the very near future more people will be joining him. Jonathan Gray, intelligence officer specializing in UAP analysis at the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, is speaking publicly for the first time, identified here under the identity he uses inside the agency. Excuse me. NASIC is headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, of course, is the Department of Defense's primary Air Force source for foreign air and space threat analysis. That's interesting. It's at Wright-Pat. That's where the Roswell wreckage was taken. Its mission is to discover and characterize air, space, missile, and cyber threats. The center's team of trusted subject matter experts deliver unique collection, exploitation, and analytic capabilities not found elsewhere, the website states. Gray said that such immense capabilities are not merely relegated to the study of the prosaic. The existence of complex historical programs involving the coordinated retrieval and study of exotic materials, again, at Wright-Patterson, dating back to the early 20th century. Bloody hell, dating back to the early 20th century should no longer remain a secret. I mean, how far back does this go? The majority of retrieved foreign exotic materials have a prosaic terrestrial explanation and origin, but not all. And any number higher than 0 in this category represents an undeniably statistical percentage. Like we always say to the skeptics, only one of our claims have to be correct for us to be right. For you to be right, all of them have to be wrong. It's unusual for an Air Force insider to come forward, as the Air Force has been less forthcoming than other agencies with regard to the UAP. Yes, up till now it's been the Navy, hasn't it? Oh, yeah. Well, why is this is another article from the debrief. Why is the Air Force AWOL on the UAP issue? Well, it's not anymore. A vast array of our most sophisticated sensors, including space-based platforms, have been utilized by different agencies, typically in triplicate, to observe and accurately identify the out-of-this-world nature, performance, and design of these anomalous machines, which are then determined not to be of earthly origin, Grace said. This is Chris Mellon, former Deputy Assistant of Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, has been instrumental in arranging classified briefings for members of Congress and other officials about UAP, which include references to exotic retrieved materials. The first briefing he facilitated, it's just giving some details of what he did in the past, which we know about already. Mellon said that once the members of Congress gain greater awareness of the information provided to their staff and the Inspector General, they will be in a position to quickly determine the truth if they have the will to do so. This is an unprecedented oversight challenge to their committees, but I believe we have leaders in Congress who are up to the task, Mellon said. Well, you have Tim Burchett, you have Kirsten Gillibrand, Marco Rubio. Yeah. Classified briefings are presented for Jonathan Gray and his team at NASIC. High-level classified briefing materials exist in which real-world scenarios involving UAP are evidenced by historical examples, are made available to intelligence personnel on a need-to-know basis. And he said, I've been reporting recipient of such briefings for almost a decade. The FY 2023 tasked the Secretary of Defense, in consultation with the DNI, with the establishment for the first time a secure mechanism for authorizing reporting of sensitive information to defense channels. Again, that's the Gillibrand Amendment, which may be one of the most important pieces of legislation in UFO history. In addition, the legislation asks for reporting on material retrieval, material analysis, reverse engineering, research and development involving UAP, currently going back decades. Yeah, it was originally 1947, and they pushed it back to 1945 without really explaining why. But it happened when Paola Harris and Jacques Vallée's book came out, I remember. What's 2 little years? Yeah, but there's this book that's just come out. Dr. Gary Nolan, a professor at the Department of Pathology at Stanford University, a renowned inventor and entrepreneur with more than 300 published papers, has stated over half a dozen companies based started over half a dozen companies based on technologies out of his laboratory. Nolan has previously applied some of these technologies to the analysis of exotic materials, publishing the first peer-reviewed paper examining such materials. He's the one who said 100%. Do you remember? I'll show you that clip. Human civilization was utterly transformed by something. All right, he goes now. He's just talking about other things now. I think this goes off topic a little bit now. Let's have a look. It goes, there's a couple of these paragraphs aren't relevant. But then Andre Carson says, whistleblowing is essential to the checks and balances of government, and no federal employee should feel discouraged from stepping forward due to fear of retaliation. Oh, tell that to Chelsea Manning. Tell that to Edward Snowden. The case of David Grusch makes a crucial test to these new whistleblower protections and their ability to protect future whistleblowers who decide to come forward. Yeah, actually, if Manning, I suppose if Manning had done what he did now, he, she, whatever it are, it would have been different now. I think they'd have had an easier time of it, maybe. Or maybe this just refers to UAP and not to, cover-ups of criminal negligence by the occupying forces in Iraq. Jonathan Gray says secrets have been necessary, though a tough nut to crack. Potential technological advancements may be gleaned from non-human intelligence UAP retrievals by any sufficiently advanced nation, and then used to wage asymmetrical warfare. So therefore, some secrecy must remain. That's basically saying if you want to have one up on your enemies. If you gather intelligence from UAP material, you have to keep that intelligence close to your chest. However, it is no longer necessary to continue to deny that these advanced technologies derived from non-human intelligence exist at all, or to deny that these technologies have landed, crashed, or fallen into the hands of human beings. Well, exactly. They're two slightly different issues, aren't they? Although, once we know the latter, we're going to want to know more about the former. Gray noted that the hypothesis that the United States alone has bullied the other nations into maintaining secrecy for nearly a century continues to prevail as the primary consensus amongst the public is at large. My hope is to dissuade the global populace from this archaic and preposterous notion and potentially pave the way for a broader discussion, he said. Well, according to the Brazilian people who've commented, this actually was not the case in Brazil. The Brazilian government did seem to be very much in the pocket of the United States over the issue of the aliens in Virginia. And a lot of the officials in Brazil were very put out by that. Grusch said it was dangerous for this 80-year arms race to continue in secrecy because it further inhibits the world populace to be prepared for an unexpected non-human intelligence contact scenario. Well, there is that, yes. Although, in my view, there's elements within the deep state who want to maintain that situation because they would like to take advantage of it. So by keeping us ignorant of the ET presence, they can use the shock value of, say, a false image of the ET presence, if in so doing, they need to advance the New World Order agenda. In other words, a fake alien invasion. I hope this revelation serves as an ontological shock sociologically and provides a general uniting issue for nations and the world to reassess their priorities, Grusch said. Well, that's true, isn't it? Yeah, that's bloody true. This is by Leslie Klein and Ralph Blumenthal, but Tim McMillan, Micah Hanks, and several other people contributed to this article. Okay, guys, so how are you guys getting on? DJ Bijou, hello. Red Cap Goblin is there. Stephen Truthseeker. E.T. craft don't crash, they get shot down. Well, I think both happens, but the shooting down thing actually I think is rarer, Stephen, in my view. There are very, very few instances where combat between ET and humans happen in which the ETs come worse off. Usually we do. Hello, Red Cap Goblin. How do you do? We won't really know until we figure out how to steal their info or knock one down for ourselves. Well, it could be we won't have to wait that long. But anyway, just have a look at, here's a news story covering it, and you'll see a little clip of Ross Coulthart's interview with David Grusch. Now, this is an hour-long interview he's done with him, which is going to be released at some point in the next few days. There's a little clip in this news story, so have a look at this. You should be able to hear this.
Bombshell claims from a military whistleblower. UFO wreckage recovered by the U.S. kept classified by a secret government.
Just point out, I'm claiming fair use on this. It's educational, transformative, free distribution, not for profit. The purposes of criticism and review.
Program for decades. Tonight, a world television exclusive you will only see on News Nation. Welcome to Elizabeth Vargas Reports, earning your trust every night.
I've never heard of News Nation before, but these have been the primary front runners in the publicity of this particular story. We are going to discuss other news outlets though for this story, because it's not been spread everywhere. It's not been the front page headlines it deserves to be yet, but it has been covered by most of the major news networks.
UFOs exist. The U.S. government found quite a number of them, and they are indeed of non-human origin. Those are the explosive allegations.
Bloody saying this. This is exactly what conspiratorial ufologists have been saying for decades, and they've laughed at us. I think my comment under here says it all, doesn't it? Look. My God, we told you so. I put that comment there 21 hours ago.
From a former intelligence officer tonight in a whistleblower complaint that the Inspector General is taking very seriously. 36-year-old...
Can you hear me all right? Yeah. Would you like to know more? All right. Here we go. I'll just go carry on.
Air Force veteran David Grusch is exposing what he calls a top-secret military program that has reportedly found wreckage of fully intact UFOs. The government now calls them UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena. For years, there have been whispers and rumors that the government had aircraft of non-human origin. This report is the first evidence it might be true. The Inspector General has called Grusch's complaint urgent and credible. Tonight, we have a world television exclusive interview with the whistleblower in which he claims we not only have the aircraft, but the government has been keeping much of its secret from Congress and from the public. News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Enton is here with the story, and this is a blockbuster.
It is a blockbuster. It's really hard to wrap your mind around.
Does he look like Philip Schofield to you? I'm sure that's just my imagination. I'm seeing Philip Schofields everywhere.
This. I've been working on this for the past couple of weeks. I'm still having a hard time processing all of it. Over the last couple of years, it sort of became mainstream to discuss UFOs. The government has released videos. They've acknowledged that we don't know what some of this stuff is out there that we have on camera, but this really takes it all to another level. For the very first time, the world is about to hear from a former high-level U.S. intelligence officer who says the government has some of the unidentified craft in its possession. He is revealing these exclusive details about the secret government program.
It's everything you wish for. Your site traffic is...
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
We have all seen these blurry videos of unidentified flying objects. Video evidence, if you will, that old tales of UFOs may not all be conspiracy theories. In recent years, Congress starting an official U.S. government unidentified aerial phenomena task force, recently renamed the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO. And now in a News Nation exclusive, David Grusch, an Air Force veteran, former member of that task force, and veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, is formally blowing the whistle on secrets he says no one has ever shared publicly before.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence.
There's Ross Coulthart. I don't know if you ever watch Need to Know, if you read the book In Plain Sight. This guy's he's not to be messed with. This guy, he's not like a UFO sort of specialist like you and me. He actually made a name for himself investigating Hell's Angels and like quack doctors and the IRA and people like that. He's won Australia's biggest journalistic award. So yeah, he gives this guy good going over. You'll see.
Officials in the U.S. Defense and Intelligence Establishment.
Yes, I was.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
Grusch sitting down with award-winning investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who's reporting for News Nation and has spent years reporting on the UFO question.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
No, there you go. See, the Arrow is basically being, I think Arrow, they're gaslighting Arrow right now. The people who want to keep the secret going and trying to use them, trying to manipulate them in the same way they did Project Blue Book many, many years ago.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
After all the waffle and all the flannel, to hear someone speaking so simply and openly and one-dimensionally is just extraordinary. It's an extraordinary experience.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No. I thought it was totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have plenty of current and former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me. They were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof, that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
Grusch alleges the U.S. government has recovered non-human craft for decades. He's filed a whistleblower complaint saying he gave what he calls the classified proof to Congress and the Intelligence Community Inspector General. News Nation has confirmed David Grusch's credentials and resume. We've not seen or verified the alleged proof he says he's provided to investigators. He says he can't show us the proof for national security reasons. He also tells us he's not seen photos
That's what the skeptics are going to jump on. They're going to say, well, hang on a minute, we still just have to take his word for it. He's not showing us where are the documents and the evidence. And obviously these things remain classified, and he can't do that. He can't just show it to us. But by saying they exist, he hopes to get these things declassified.
The alleged craft himself, but has talked extensively with other intelligence officials who have.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone.
Yeah.
Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well,
non-human?
naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
It's also harder for people to wrap their minds.
It's literally like everything that we've been talking about in exopolitics, all the claims we've made. He's just like, you could provide a list and he's just saying, yeah, true. Crash retrievals, aliens, the lot.
Around the concept of a crashed object from somewhere else, it's easier to accept that, yeah, we see things in the sky that we can't explain.
Journalist Leslie Kane broke Grusch's whistleblower story this morning in the debrief. Ms. Kane's career has been mainstream and credible, having written a series of reports on UFOs in the New York Times dating back to 2017. He has the credentials, but there's no documents that he's handed over. There's no pictures. And as a journalist, you want to see documents, you want to see pictures. Does that raise a red flag?
Not at all, Brian. I mean, you mean documents that actually describe the craft?
Correct. Yeah, like government documents, or to be able to see it for ourselves.
Of course. Don't we all want that? And the problem with that is all of that information is classified. You know, as we said in the story.
If he did that, he would have to go into hiding. He would become an Edward Snowden. That's too much to ask.
Everything that Grusch told Congress and told the Inspector General of both the IC, the Intelligence Community Inspector General, and the Department of Defense Inspector General, all of that information is classified.
In 2017, Kane reported exclusively in the New York Times that the Pentagon had a secret UFO program. 3 years later, the Pentagon confirmed her story. Her latest report is even more explosive, but Kane says she has multiple sources who back up Grusch's story.
I believe it because of all the sources I have who have told me the same thing. So who am I to doubt these very, very high-level people who have been inside these programs for decades, have done their work, and are all telling me the same thing? I mean, I don't think there's some kind of conspiracy among all these people who don't know each other to make something like this up.
So I've got to be blunt about this.
Yeah.
You're not making this up. This is
No.
not a lie.
No, absolutely not.
When lights go out.
Blimey. It's quite. You see what I mean? It's just see how I never expected this. Yeah, there we go.
Because everybody watching this right now is looking at your face. They're going, is this guy for real?
Yeah.
I am for real. And I'm sitting here at great personal risk and obvious professional risk.
Richard D. Hall he's wheeling out Peter Hyatt, isn't he? You can bet he's doing that. Richard will ignore everything other than Peter Hyatt and say, well, Peter Hyatt says this, so there.
Risk by talking to you today.
And just within the last 10 minutes or so, the Pentagon has released a statement to News Nation about this report. They say to date, AARO has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering.
This is basically just what Scott, what's his name? Sean Kirkpatrick said the other day. This is just
of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. AARO is committed to following the data and its investigation wherever it leads. AARO working with the Office of the General.
According to David Grusch, AARO has basically had a yarn spun to them.
Council and the Air Force Office of Special Investigations has established a safe and secure process for individuals to come forward with information to aid AARO in its congressionally mandated historical review. AARO's historical review of records and testimonies is ongoing and due to Congress by June 2024, and AARO welcomes the opportunity to speak with any former or current employee or contractor who believes they have information relevant to this historical review. And Elizabeth, we know that David Grusch, he's filed.
Did you know that was Susan Goff? Yeah. She's the one who was like trying to fob off Anthony Bragalia.
That whistleblower complaint. He's been on the record under oath testifying to many of these things that he said in our report tonight.
Right, and it's important to point out that this statement from the Pentagon from AARO, Grusch is alleging that this top secret program is keeping it a secret from AARO.
Yeah, exactly. And if Grusch what he's saying is true, the spokespeople, all of those folks at that level wouldn't even know this was going on anyway.
All right, I got to ask you, he has a compelling story to tell. Very little of it seems like firsthand knowledge. Isn't he just repeating what somebody else has told him or somebody else has showed him?
Yes, that is what he's doing. But he says he's talked to a number of people who are in very, very high level positions. He also had basically the highest level of
others have backed him up as well.
Classified material information that he was able to receive. We went back and checked over, his history, all of his credentials. Check out completely. Unfortunately, there's
in addition, a couple people have come forward publicly to vouch for him, people who are high ranking.
They have. And this article first came out this morning, and I think it's interesting that, there hasn't been any sort of effort to discredit what he has said either from the Defense Department.
So interesting. So what happens, and have we had any reaction, by the way?
So the only reactions come from AARO, which is what you just read by Susan Goff, but no one else. There's been no other official denouncement of what he said.
Of Congress who have been taking this seriously in the last couple of years. We've seen congressional hearings. We've seen NASA's hearing just about a week ago on UFOs or UAPs, whatever you prefer to call them. We've seen the DNI give a briefing to the White House on this. We've been hearing whispers and rumors for years. I remember even former President Trump, when he was in office, sort of saying, "Oh my gosh, if you knew what I knew about UFOs."
Yeah.
So there's always been this intrigue.
Yeah. There has. And think about it, Elizabeth. If you go back 15 or 20 years, if we were sitting here talking about UFOs, people would think that we were nutty. Now it's gotten to the level of where it is somewhat accepted because
true,
the
actually.
government has come forward to a certain extent and acknowledged that there are these videos that exist. The Navy has released the videos themselves and said, we're not sure exactly what this is that we're seeing. Of course, what Grusch is saying really just sort of takes it to the next level.
Boy, it sure does. It's almost impossible to believe. All right, Brian Nenton, thanks so much.
Thank you for
Well,
watching.
not
Go
if,
to newsstationnow.com.
not if you move in our circles, it's not impossible to believe. It's just from the mainstream it is. Anyway, guys, you got any comments? Anything you want to talk about? Right. What's this? Was he paid for that interview? I don't know. Would that change matters, Redcap Goblin? You could say maybe it would. I don't know. But hello, Wayne. How are you? You could, yeah, sure. You can watch the recording, isn't it? But anyway, straight from the alien's mouth. Well, we might. I don't want to think too much about aliens' mouths and what they might do with them, but we might end up having some more kind of like information at some point about aliens and what they're like. I mean, you never know. I mean, this could be the prelude to the declassification of actual documents. Redcap, truth for profit isn't truth, Ben. Bloody blue raised arms. Body blue raised arms. Well, it depends on the motivation for. I mean, in his position, I wouldn't want to take a fee because of how it might look. It wouldn't. Hello, Celtic cousin. Hello, welcome. David says slow disclosure. The gatekeepers still aren't ready to disclose fully. Well, the thing is, David, if this is slow disclosure, they've suddenly pressed the accelerator quite hard in the last 24 hours, quite considerably. Matt, hello, Matt. I believe anything we see is fed for a purpose. I also do, Matt. I think that this appears to be controlled. There's something theatric about what we're saying, about what we're seeing. There is some kind of it seems to be like it's almost like actors coming on and off the stage. It's almost like lines being read. It's almost like someone made a decision probably back in 2016 during that very turbulent period when the Illuminati basically lost control. We're going to go for like full disclosure. We can't just do it all in one go. We've got to spread the ground, prepare the way. Hey, Rhiannon, how you doing? Nice to see you. If he's asking us to believe him and other high-ranking officers have endorsed him, then we first need to ask what could be the reason that the government want us to believe it's true. Yeah. You see, there's several reasons, both good and bad. It could be, like I said, this is willing disclosure being launched. Alternatively, it could be some kind of psychological warfare operation with another purpose behind it, which could be. I mean, I don't believe in this very fashionable idea that UFOs are just some kind of engineered neo mythology to bury more down to earth secrets even deeper. That's what Mark Pilkington talks about in his book, and it's not true. On the other hand, it could be a prelude to fake disclosure involving a situation where there is some kind of an attack, which would then be blamed on aliens. Where's that passage in my book where I read about it? You can't read books for this. Yeah. Oh, I can't find it now. But there's a scene in the book where there's an attack in New York and it's blamed on the aliens. Yeah, the theatrics. Yeah, Redcap Copley. It's like some kind of theatrics. So what's the purpose? You see, if I'm in an optimistic mood, I'd said yes, this is willing disclosure. And there's other reasons to think that this is actually willing disclosure. Something which I never used to believe was possible, but it could be. It could be that the truth embargo has lost control of this process. Balloons, yeah. Humpty Dumpty Biden fell down again, and oh blimey, did he do it again? Oh, It's symbolic, isn't it? Because the way that, America, a great nation, has fallen so quickly and so fast. It's like, Rhiannon, could it be that government want to use him to distract us from something even worse? Or could it be they're preparing us psychologically for true disclosure? Or could he just be after a book deal? Definitely not the latter, Rhiannon. He's got nothing to... He could easily make a fortune just writing about his own career. Military memoirs are a big best. They're key to a bestseller now. He could just simply write one talking about his own life. Could they be using him as a distraction from something even worse? Not a distraction, but I think a distortion of something connected directly to what he's talking about, which would be, supposing they say, okay, we'll come clean, aliens are real, what Grusch was saying is true, but they're evil, they're out there, they're going to get us Independence Day style, and the only way we can save the planet is having a dictatorial one world government. That kind of thing. Alternatively, you might be right. The last bit, your last sentence here, or the third sentence, the second sentence rather, could it be they're preparing us psychologically for true disclosure? I hope that. I hope there are people now in control of this process who are actually against the deep state. The white hats are now in control. That's what I hope. And nothing as it seems, yes. Threat narrative, get the populace to ask for protection. Yeah, just like 9/11. David says, the phenomenon is real, but the interpretation is the ultimate thing. Who is behind these non-human craft, friendly or enemy? The biblical interpretation obviously has always stated the latter. Yeah, I read the book by Father Spiridon Bailey, and I talked to you about it. I actually reviewed it for UFO Truth magazine, and I've got a lot of problems with it. A lot of problems. The mystery stokes fear. Well, it stokes all kinds of emotions, Red Cap, although I think with most people will find this irrelevant. I've got like a little audio I want to play for you later, which talks about it. See how we're living. Ross Coulthart said on Need to Know yesterday he disclosed some horrifying and scary facts. Did he? I listened to that show this morning actually on my earphones. Well, that's pretty worrying, isn't it? I mean, it could be it's related to abduction or to cattle mutilation or something. When is Coulthart's full interview? I don't know. He said sometime this week. Apparently, the full 1 hour interview with Grusch is going to come out. A few days, yes, that's it. See how we're living. It'll be out in a few days. The scary stuff, though, this horrifying and scary. Like I said, this could be they will come out and say things like, oh, it'll be something related to... Oh, Leon Miller says to fear China. Hi, Leon. How you doing? I don't see what this has got to do with China. I mean, obviously, there's a very sticky situation with Taiwan right now. Hello, 69 Food Cat. How you doing? Threat narrative, yes. Those glasses, they are working, yeah. I find it a lot easier, actually, with these glasses. Anyway, let's see what's going on with these various people on Twitter. Let's see what Ross Coulthart is up to. That's his book in plain sight. The second edition is coming out actually soon. Let's see what he has to do now. Oh, this is 38 minutes ago. I sure hope President Biden is demanding a briefing on David Grusch's UAP allegations. Does the White House actually know what's going on in the Department of Defense's secret crash retrieval programs? Why can't she answer a simple question? Oh, yes, I remember this. This is what's her name? What's the Miss Diversity Hire Token? What's her name?
And retrieving craft. Good, Steve. Real quick, though, this whistleblower report alleging that the U.S. military has been retrieving craft of non-human origin for at least several decades. Are we alone? And if we were not, would you even tell us?
I would refer that question to the Department of Defense and let them answer that question. Go ahead.
Back on the Merkel.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's yes, that's Katrine, what's her name? And she was asked this before and she said, ha ha ha, yes, I love the film E.T. So it's pretty obvious that the executive is actually not even involved in this. And what Coulthart says here, I sure hope President Biden is demanding a briefing. President Biden couldn't demand anything except a nice glass of warm milk. Oops, not that. Here we go. So obviously Biden and his staff are not even involved in this process. We saw this during ObjectGate. Do you remember ObjectGate? When I covered it in great detail. I covered it in great detail where I talked about everything was coming from the Pentagon. Everything. It took a whole week for the bloody White House to say anything. It's pretty clear they're not even in control now. Ross Coulthard said, here we go. News Nation comms. Chairman of the House Oversight Committee just told News Nation that the committee will hold a hearing on UFO soon. He's interested to hear it as a piece of the investigation. He's interested in it. All right.
There will be oversight of that. I've heard about it. I don't know anything about it. But Representative Burchett and Representative Luna on the Oversight Committee are very interested in this issue, and they're taking the lead in this issue.
So there is going to be oversight on that?
We plan on having a hearing pertaining to that whole issue, but
what
Burchett
issue?
And Luna are the two
You mean specifically Grusch's issue?
members of Congress that know more about this than I do.
Well, anyway, Coulthard says it's excellent news to see America's political leadership acknowledging this is a serious issue demanding investigation. Congress already knows a great deal from private hearings. It's time the public was told what's really going on. Yeah, I'll stick a like on that. Ross Coulthard, well done to the London Guardian for giving this once taboo story coverage it does. Oh, my goodness me. The Guardian, oh my God, oh, but this is fascist. This is a fascist mythology. It's all white supremacy, you know. US urged to reveal UFO evidence after the claim it has intact alien vehicles. Oh my God. I can't possibly read this in a Guardian voice. It's still going through the usual thing. Oh, the readers are going to hate this, though. The readers are going to hate it because they believe it's all white supremacy. UFOs are from white privilege. Yeah. Wonderful to see Tim, former acting administration of NOAA, recognizing the importance of whistleblowers like David Grusch. The news today marks a paradigm shift in our understanding. Yes. I think so. Yeah, it does. Yeah. This could literally be the start of the big disclosure moment. It could be. Here we are, very proud of reporting this story of News Nation. It's just, there's a clip here of what you've just seen. And it goes back. That's the start. Oh, no, here we are. Richard Butler, American hero. Well, he is, isn't he? What he's doing is just like, he could be one of the most important people in history. You never know. Well done, David. Yeah, well done. There we go. What makes this different from anything you've heard before, says Tim McMillan? It came out of first in sworn testimony and signed affidavits to the General Counsel and the IG. Yes, it did. Do you remember he actually signed it and said, this is, I could have perjury. There'll be perjury if not. And this is where a major UAP story, and this is where he's advertising the article in the debrief. Reverse engineering project should be made public, ex-Intel official. If the government had crash retrievals, it's time to reveal them. Yeah, and he just carries on, and it goes back to NASA here. So that's Ross Coulthard. What about Elizondo? Let's see what Lou has to say. To Dave, my friend and former colleague, thank you for your courage and honesty. Oh, bless him. I've already liked that one. And he's just retweeted the article. Now, Christopher Mellon, what's he saying about it? The debrief, there we go. I hope these new revelations will assist Congress in its efforts to determine the truth of long-standing allegations that our government has recovered off-world technology and for years has been engaged in reverse engineering it. I've always believed the public has a right to know. It will be very much in the interest of our nation and humanity itself, revealing this incredible secret. I'll come to John Greenwald in a minute, because where are we now? And then we go on to that's June the 2nd there. Here we go. I'm interested to see what Greenwald has to say about this, actually. Where's John Greenwald? John Greenwald Jr. I've got to subscribe to him. Oh, sorry, you got to sign up. I'm not going to subscribe to that. I'll follow him, not subscribe. What does he have to say here? No doubt on some days I'm this guy. I'm like that every day. Regardless of the truth behind the major claim made by yesterday's whistleblowers on non-human craft, if what was printed about him was true, that he was at the NRO as a representative of the UAPF, he wouldn't have been here at this time. What's that? All right. Highly classified NRO system detects possible Tic Tac object. He wouldn't have been there at that time. Oh no, he wouldn't have been here at the time of this. So be it. Yeah, maybe so. But Greenwald's very good actually. He's pretty level-headed. When he says something serious, you know what he's not a skeptic, but he's very cautious. Here we go. Although I have a follow-up submitted to the Pentagon, here is their official response from Sue Goff, Department of Defense spokesperson on today's major story, being copy and pasted. Reposted within various outlets. Yeah, this is like a textbook response you'd expect. Yeah, you always get that, don't you? All right, guys. Any more questions here? Any more questions or comments you'd like to make? What about Greer? Oh, well, Greer apparently has had an argument with David Grusch. Apparently, Greer said something that Grusch objected to. I don't know. Here's the details. Here we are. I'll go through my notes here. Let's just check them off. Right. Oh, he says here, this is from Vinnie Adams posted it. Vinnie Adams of Disclosure Team. Statement from David Grusch. Apparently, this is secondhand. I took my job very seriously, and early on, I allowed various individuals that alleged they had information to speak their truth as part of my evaluation process. I have not been mentored by anyone, and my public disclosure has been done independently under my own free will. I emphatically request that Dr. Stephen Greer cease using my name to promote his personal agenda. Oh, right. Is that right? I didn't know about that, but that's Greer for you, Leon. Yeah. I'm not smart. I'm smart, not smart, not daft, but I get a feeling space is bunkum. Oh, space exists. Greer is busy weightlifting. I'm sure he is, yeah. Okay. 69 Phuket says, the specs make me look all more authoritative, Ben Lad. I'm glad to hear it, yeah. So what do you reckon, guys? Who said NASA is silent? Oh, Redcap Goblin. Oh, oddly, NASA is silent. Well, they weren't silent exactly. They were just waffling about nothing for 4 hours the other day. It was very, very frustrating. I wrote an article about it. Right, David says here, the Westall incident proves just how powerful the Official Secrets Act is to keep many government and military officials involved in the cover-up completely silent for the rest of their lives. Indeed, although, look, Mr. Greenwood is speaking out now after all these years, yeah. Redcap Goblin, I once took Richard Dolan seriously until he got weird. In what way is he weird? So does anyone, what do you think about all this? Do you think, is this disclosure with a capital D, do you reckon? Or is something else going on, or is it a nothing burger like some of the skeptics are saying? I'll check out Mick West because this is gonna be amusing. I wonder because he's been quiet for a long time, Mick West. What are you gonna say about this? What's Westy gonna say about this then? 21 hours ago. What would be more significant, the remains of a crashed alien craft or an actual alien body? David Grusch claims that people have told him that the US military has both crashed alien craft and the bodies of pilots, but the media seem to focus on the craft. Well, I'd say both are the same. I can't really vote there. Mick West. Tonight, I'll be on News Nation with Chris Cuomo discussing the possibility of alien visitors, crashed alien craft, and what David Grush's whistleblowing means for ufology in the world. Oh, this is going to be... That's 21 hours ago. I'll try and find that in a minute. And it's on, News Nation, right. Mick West, Arrow's response. All right, well, I've already been through that. I've already been through Arrow's response. Mick West, never mind flying saucers or whistleblowers. David Grusch says we have dead pilots of alien craft. Unfortunately, he's not seen any of the photos of them, the craft, or the technology, but nonetheless, he assures it's true. Gonna need some details here. I told you the skeptics would say this, didn't I? I told you they would. I said that's exactly what they're going to say. They're going to say, well, all this stuff that's classified, why doesn't he release all the classified material? I mean, he may be sacrificing his life. He may end up spending the rest of his life in jail or having to flee the country like Edward Snowden. But come on, David, let's see those documents. Let's see it all, shall we? He wants to, obviously, Grusch wants to go through the official channels. All right, let's see what else is. That's Mick West. Could be another psyop. But what for, do you think? What, DJ, perhaps you could tell me exactly what, if it's a psyop, what's it meant to be for? What purpose does it serve? Villon Aura, another Elizondo. There are similarities there, Villon, but I get the feeling he's closer to the establishment than Elizondo is. But what Red Cap Goblin also says is nothing new. It's the same old, same old. No, this has never happened before, Red Cap. Never. Not someone in this position saying these things that crudely without any qualification. OAP's a real, Ben. Of course. Old age pensioners like Biden, yeah. A distraction from something else. Well, the thing about it is, DJ, when you want to distract people from something, I think I may have discussed this with you before on another. I think this might have come up on the Object Gate videos. Usually, it's something prosaic. So, for example, it's something that shuts down lateral thought rather than opens it out. So it would have been if they want to distract it from something else. If they wanted to distract us from something else, they would have used a celebrity scandal. I don't know, Madonna is pregnant at 65 or something like that. It would be something like that, and they put that in the papers. It will be everywhere. But instead, you can't put out really stories that sort of invigorate, make people look more closely and think more broadly as a distraction. Those don't work very well as distractions. Distractions are best if they are simple and they are conventional. This is why I doubt this is a distraction from anything else. Hello, Doctor's Why. I had a huge triangular-shaped craft hover above my car on this lay-by. Well, really? And there's some coordinates here. Right. So, Red Cap Goblin, more funding? More funding. What you mean with all the money, with everything, with Ukraine and with Taiwan, they actually need something else to give them more funding? Come on, man. Come on. Again, you can make the case for more defense funding without inventing aliens. Empty shelves, food and fuel prices insane. They can't talk about that. Well, they are. I mean, we are as well. We are talking about that too. So I don't believe this is a distraction. Again, there's a lot that is distraction from that. I mean, whenever all the fuss about Harry and Meghan, I mean, I can't help thinking that, when they keep that's kind of bread and circuses thing, Doctor's White was back in February 1997, or not quite close to the Phoenix Lights. All right. Have you got any photographs? Sorry, I'm not doubting you. I'm doubting you. Villan burger. A nothing burger. That's original, as usual, I think, personally. I don't see why it's a nothing burger. I mean, of course, the skeptics are going to say it's going to be a nothing burger. But why? I mean, again, there's a lot of difference. I mean, for example, the things he's saying, the simplicity with which he's saying it, and the person saying it, I think makes it more than a nothing burger. And whatever is going on, it's something significant. I'm not saying it's definitely disclosure, but there's something significant going on here. There are. Balloons. Ben, we're on the verge of civil war here. We can't get enough to distract. No, I mean, it could be that this issue might save your country. I mean, if you're American, I mean, I know you're in the United States. With the way that your country's declined, you know, Red Cap Coplin said, I saw plenty in South Korea when I was stationed there. Is that UFOs, Red Cap? All right. You saw UFOs. What kind of things did you see? Are there lots of UFOs in that area? Sweeps, hello there. How are you, Sweeps? Are you well? Late climbing in here, Ben, but thumbs up. Thumbs up, Sweeps. Your usual good info and banter, covering all the aspects and digging in to create a non-nothing burger live event. Thanks, Sweeps. Thank you very much. I'm glad you made it, mate. Glad you made it. I reported it to Brecon Police Station. Oh, right. Well, it's a shame the mayor of Brecon, or the former mayor of Brecon, sometimes pops in here, and he's not here tonight. It's Johnny Nigma. He's not here tonight. But he used to be mayor of Brecon. He'd have helped you if he'd been around. If he'd been mayor at that time, he'd have helped you. Or satellites, yeah, on night patrol. Red Cap, yes, satellites are very just. You can see satellites, and I mean, I suppose you were in the army. I'm guessing you were in the army, and you were out at night. It was dark, and when in that situation, just like when I was on the Penta Skywatch, and I did another one in Pembrokeshire more recently, you can see these satellites going over quite regularly. They're steady lights to go in a straight line. Yeah. Oh, balloons. Thanks very much. What's this? All right. Red Cap says, I learned how to align an artillery battalion by Star Kochab in case EMPs. Right. A star. Right. Okay. Did you see anything, Red Cap? Did you see anything that was not a satellite? I mean, you said you saw many of them in Korea when you were in Korea. Did you see many? Did you see something that was not a satellite? Rihanna says, I would never drive around the back lanes of Brecon area at night asking for trouble. Was it? Yeah, I mean, DRSY. Was it in that kind of area? Because you know what happens there. You know about the dead bodies that were found there, things like that. Do you know what I mean? You find these dead bodies and stuff. Could be Chinese incursion into our airspace with some kind of suborbital drones. Well, if you're American, then that's very bad news because it means China has technology way above anything in the United States, and any kind of war that broke out, you couldn't hope to win. Oh, Red Cap, thanks. Only satellites, like clockwork from dusk to dawn. All right. That's it. Did any of the other soldiers see anything that was more than that? You might have heard, because I mean, like pilots, soldiers often see these things because they are out at night and it's often dark, things like that. Just like some other people whose jobs inevitably involve that kind of activity are more likely to see them. Yes, Brett, that's right. COE 11. Have you seen Richard D. Hall's NATO's? What is it? The human mutilations in NATO's, yeah. Diego Rivera, it's only a matter of time before the aliens are commonplace. Well, that's already happened. They're here now. But the question is that it's like an elephant in the room. We know they're here. But there needs to be some kind of, I think, situation where we're sort of aware of it. We're sort of aware of it. Well, excuse me. Sonic booms near Washington a few days back. Yeah. Alien Nation. That was a good film, you know, David, because that's actually true. There are people, I think, who are not real people. Yeah. Red Cap. Sadly, I never saw any oddity in my 8 weeks of service. Southern Germany, Korea, Washington, and 8 years. 8 years of service. Southern Germany, Korea, and Washington, Colorado. Right. Well, not everyone does. Not everyone does. I mean, I've known you get people like astronomers and that who said, I spent 50 years looking for a telescope and I never saw any aliens. Well, maybe that could be. Diego Vera says, next year's UFO conference will be hosted by real aliens. Well, maybe one already has. Contact in the desert with live aliens. Oh, I wonder how they're enjoying this at Contact. I know Colin's there because they'll all be talking about this. They're in just the perfect place to be when something like this breaks out, doesn't it? They're in just exactly the perfect place to be. All right, guys. What's next? Let's just see what the media are saying about all this. David Grusch. Right. But thanks for your comments anyway and your questions, guys. I mean, this is turning into an interesting discussion. Maybe we can, by the end of this, we'll know more about what's going on. Right. The Independent. Blimey, the Independent is talking about it. UFO whistleblower. Privacy, bugger off. UFO whistleblower says government has intact non-human craft. How close is this? I wanted to see how close this is to the headlines. Harry, Meghan, Rishi Sunak. This is interesting. Bugger off. Let's have a look. How close is this to the top? I just want to see if it's on the front page. Mind you, it could be that I've got some search cookies that will lead it to me quicker. Can't see it anywhere. Explore the news. No, it's not there. No, it's not there. Right, Fox News, military whistleblower. Goes public with claims. There we go. Right. Ex-New York Magazine, ex-Pentagon UFO whistleblower. New York. Let's have a look. Again, it doesn't appear to be... Again, there's a lot of celebrity gossip here. There's more of this. It's the usual news stories. Nothing on the front page. And now let's carry on down here. Daily Mail, New York Post, Vice. I think it was something. The Sun had something on about it. Let's have a look. The U.S. Sun. Here we go. Oh my God! You've got the Sun over in America now, have you? The U.S. Sun. Oh dearie, dearie me. You poor people. You poor Americans. I mean, honestly, one of the things I always thought, well, you know, you Americans, you've got your problems, but at least you don't have the British tabloids that we have. And now you do. There's the US Sun. I know there's the Irish Sun and there's the Scottish Sun. Now there's the bloody Americans, the US Sun as well. The Americans have the US Sun. We are not alone, whistleblower, etc., etc. How close is that to the... Let's have a look at the headlines. How close is it to the top? Man who claims Edwin Castro sold 2 billion Powerball. What's this? Bad. Oh, God. See, it's nothing really here. See, it's nothing really unusual about the so unless you're actually looking for this particular subject matter, that story doesn't appear. That story does not appear. What's this? David Grusch's body language reveals he's lying. Oh my God, Richard D. Hall is on the case already. I am for real. David Charles Gross reveals he's lying. Oh, God. That's it. Hold the bar. Peter Hyatt is here. Peter. Right. It's just a video here. Hang on.
Is looking at your face.
Mhm.
They're going, is this guy for real?
I am for real. And I'm sitting here at great personal risk and obvious professional risk by talking to you today.
Right.
So I've got to be blunt
And
about this. You're not
I'm for real. David Charles Grosch's body language reveals he's lying. That's it.
making
That's
not
it.
a
There's
lie.
no details at all. That's it. It just says that's it. What's next? Oh, come see my baby ferrets. You say, what the hell are they? That's meaningless. That's absolutely meaningless. There's just nothing. The US Sun. What about the UK Sun? Let's have a look. Let's see what this can mean. The Sun. Let's have a look at the London Sun, the Sun newspaper. London Sun, it's called. The Sun. News, sport, gossip, celebrities, and nothing much else. There we go. Clap back. Piers Morgan takes that's right here. Takes a swipe at Prince Harry's privacy campaign. Let's have a look. Stop the boats when News Big Brother returns. We got here. Primal Scream star dies. Things get steamy at Love Island. Oh, fuck me. What is this? Deary me. Bloody blah. Prince Harry. Inside Ukraine's dam disaster. Oh, there's someone said some weird things about that dam. Maybe I'll talk a bit more about the dam in a minute. I'll talk about clickbait. God. All right, guys. So there's nothing here. More clickbait, obviously. Typical of the Sun. Okay, so it seems that this is not like a major news story around the entire world. Okay, I'm just going to go through your comments, guys. I'll get through as many as I can. I saw Anthony Peake with Linda Moulton Howe. There was like a photo of them together, which is nice. Search cookies. Well, yeah, but the thing is, Phuket, even though I have search cookies, obviously, because I always look at these sorts of things, it didn't work. It didn't work the way it was supposed to. I mean, I can't. This is clearly not. This is not a front page story. Sweeps worked on secret airbase project Peace Hawk, Taif, Saudi Arabia. Scrambled many sorties after UFOs seen on our radar disappeared when the planes in the air. Back after planes returned. Kissinger was there. You know, that doesn't surprise me, no sweeps, because that sort of thing did happen quite a lot. Rhiannon says here, I was asking about DRSY. Yeah. Redcap says, Ben, who released a lot of report of the you-know-what causing multiple sclerosis in kids? Could be distraction. Well, again, Redcap, I've seen reports like this coming out every so often about the you-know-what, V-word. But again, if you want to distract people from that, there's many, many ways of doing it. I mean, for example, the most effective distraction technique I've seen, the most effective example using a standard distraction technique was the big scandal over the phone hacking business, which they distracted with Kate Middleton's tits. Remember that? Kate Middleton, the paparazzi guy with a telephoto lens. When she was on she and Prince William were on holiday. She was bathing topless in a swimming pool. Paparazzi guy with a telephoto lens books into the hotel across the bay, takes her some snaps of her breasts, and that's the big scandal. You see, that sort of thing can act as a distraction because it's normal, it's conventional, it's prosaic, it's mundane. It's the sort of thing that makes you go, oh my God. Not something that makes you go, oh wow. You see, so if you're going to Redcap, if you're going to distract people, from something, and you say, we don't want people looking at this particular incident, you have to draw their attention away with something that makes them go, oh my God, and not something that makes them go, Otherwise, it will just open their minds out and they'll start looking at even more things. Diego Rivera, Ben Emlyn Jones, new host this morning. My goodness me, if that ever happens, we will know we're living in clown world. We will. We'll know we're living in clown world. Red Cat Goblin, Kissinger's 300 years old. He looks it, doesn't he? He's apparently just turned 100. Yeah, he's apparently just turned 100. Although he could be a lot older. I mean, there's rumors that David Rockefeller was like a hypercentenarian. He was like over 120 when he died. Technically, he was 101, but thing is, all he'd have to do is fake his birth certificate. If he was like getting 6 kids' hearts transplanted into him every decade, and that kept him going till he was like 125 or something. I mean, who's going to prove him wrong? All the people who knew him when he was young will be dead. See what I mean? Leanon, yep. What's Sufon? Sufon had another event. So I've lost track of this conversation. Sorry, guys. Dr. Zess, feel free. Let me know more about what you saw, by all means. So that's all that's happening right now with this incident. I can't really add much more unless you guys have any more comments or questions you want to make, because this, I would say, is inconclusive. However, could it be anything other than like a real disclosure or a possible prelude to willing disclosure? Is this kind of like, because this is the kind of thing we predicted would happen if there was ever a push for willing disclosure. It probably would start this way. It would start with some information being brought out. The thing is, it's not mainstream. It's not front page news. The dam, yeah, the dam. Red Cat. Now, what happened to this dam in Ukraine? Apparently, it's near Kherson. Apparently, there's something strange about the Oletsky Sands Park at Kherson. Here we go. Ukraine. This is not directly related to the subject of this, but the subject of this. Of course, this has been painted. Oh, evil Russians, of course. Nice, sweet, innocent Ukraine. It's been attacked by the evil, nasty old Russians. Oh. What dam was destroyed in Ukraine? The Kakhovka Dam was blown up in Ukraine. Ukraine and Russia have accused each other of blowing up the dam, causing widespread flooding in southern Ukraine. And they're all saying that Russia blew it up. Ukraine's war zone villagers flee after massive Ukraine dam is destroyed. The Soviet-era dam supplies water to a nuclear plant. Oh, my God. So is this plant now going to run out of water? Oh, dear. Kherson, it's near Kherson. Now, according to Michael Salla, there is something underneath the Oletsky Sands National Park, I think it's called, in Kherson. Oletsky Sands, here we go. This thing here. This location here, which is like a few miles across, Oletsky Sands National Park Nature Reserve. You can see it apparently has a little microclimate. You can see how dry it is here. It's just dry bushes and trees and things. It's according to Michael Salla, there's a UFO buried under there. I can't remember the details about how it happened, but the dam is quite close to there. It's Kherson. It's near Kherson. So dam. Let's have a look. Where's that dam? Here we are. Kakhovka Hydroelectric Dam. It's here. It's this one. This is the one that they blew up, which is just, look how close it is to Oleski Sands. I don't know if there's a connection there. I don't know. I'll just have a look at Salah, see what he has. Politics.org. Let's have a look. Some of this stuff is a bit far out, even for me. It really is. It's just rather extreme. Sometimes he makes sense. Other times it's like resources shop about. Oh, I don't know where his news stuff is. Blog. Let's have a look. No. Okay, but I mean, I'm curious to see what he has to say about that, because I'm actually connected to him on LinkedIn. I'll have a look whether there's some connection to that, whatever he thinks is underneath that build, underneath that place. Are the biolabs, Redcap? Yes, that's the where are those? I think Russia have captured most of them now. I mean, Russia, pretty much the what's the word? The mission objectives of Russia most of them have been achieved, which was to secure the Donbass region, make it safe for the people there, the ethnic Russian people who lived there, to to control the Chernobyl disaster area, and to capture the globalist bio warfare laboratories, which are dotted all over the country. And that's kind of been achieved. So people say, "Oh, Russia's losing the war." Russia's already won it. I think it was shelled by the Ukrainians. It was a week anyway. Accident waiting to happen. It was an old dam. It was built in the Soviet era. Redcap says, "I bet the US did it." It's rather like the Nord Stream pipeline, isn't it? Was it Biden said, "Oh, well, we'll find a way somehow to do it. Yes, we will." Stephen, don't go camping in the Brecon Beacons. No, please. It's not a good idea, mate. Not a good idea. Not when you consider what happens up there. Sometimes weird things happen up there. Remember those 2 bodies they found? And Rhiannon is right. There's weird things. People go missing. Hikers, soldiers on exercise. Think people like that. They go missing. They just vanish. Forget. Russia's already won it. Substantiate. I just explained. They've achieved most of their mission. From what I've seen, they've achieved most of their mission objectives. Now, I don't follow them. The mainstream media have lied so much about Ukraine. It's hardly worth following them. Just from last time I checked, it looked as if that's what they were actually doing. They moved in south from Belarus straight to the Chernobyl site. They also captured the Donbass, and then they went after the biolabs. That was their mission objectives. Missing folks worldwide. Have you seen David Polides' his documentaries? He's read his books. Stephen, but what's that video footage from the weird goings on? I don't know which ones you mean. Yeah. But yeah, it's strange world we live in. But you see, what we've just been talking about, you might think is off topic, but it will inevitably, if what David Grusch has done leads to more revelations, inevitably a certain percentage of the population will start asking these questions. They will start asking these questions. But anyway, I just want to play you a little bit of an audio. This is what Stefan Molyneux said the other day. And it's a bit depressing, but have a listen anyway. Here we go. It's audio only, not video, so I don't need to. Where is it? Here we go. Right, here we go. So it's 102. I'm just going to find the right place on the because it's sort of depressing, but it's interesting as well. Okay, here we go.
When I tried to talk to a friend about philosophy, he gave me monosyllabic responses. We're no longer friends. Yeah. He's doing movie reviews from here on out. No more philosophy. All right. So, Steph, What do you think about possible government disclosure of extraterrestrials, UFO existence? Is it going to have massive implications on religion, education, and philosophy? Well, here's the thing, man. Nothing for the most part.
Why indeed?
Oh, I don't know. Is this too dark? I need to gauge the audience here. I need to be sensitive to what you're thinking about. Hit me with a B if you don't mind a black pill. Hit me with a B if you don't mind a black pill. All right. We got a bunch of BBs going here.
Yeah.
All right. I warned you ahead of time. I want to be sensitive. I want to be sensitive. Yeah, I want to be sensitive. Okay, question. What effect will UFOs, if confirmed, have on religion, education, and philosophy? People don't have thoughts. They have assigned prejudicial reactions. So here's the thing. People don't have thoughts about Joseph McCarthy. They have programmed reactions to call anything that harms the interest of the left a McCarthyist witch hunt, right? Literally, The Crucible by Arthur Miller was written to discredit Joseph McCarthy. So people don't have opinions. They don't.
Just going to comment here. Hello, Nocturnal Frequency. Hello, Nocturnal Frequency Radio. How you doing? Glad to be here. Redcap says, if real data is about to drop, they will go to any length to destroy. It depends. It depends what is actually really going on here. Because if you think about it, Redcap, they could very easily just have shut down Grusch. I mean, or Grusch, whatever it's Grusch. He went through, he had everything he was about to say, he had it checked back in April to make sure it was okay to say it. So he went through the correct channels and they didn't shut him up then, so they could have done. David says, Brookings still stands. Yes, it does. However, this is what you're saying here, David, is directly relative to what Stefan is talking about here now. And I'll say a bit more about this. I won't play all of this because it's about half an hour long, but I'll play a bit of this.
Don't have thoughts. They have pre-programmed semi-hysterical responses. So, I mean, the wildest thing happens in society, right? Like, wasn't it not that long ago they found that the antidepressants, for the most part, aren't treating anything biochemical?
Maybe not balloons.
And people were just like, yeah, well, all right. And why? Why do they do that? Why, when these incredible truth bombs drop into society, people just move on like it ain't no thing? Why? Why? This should revolutionize everything. Why do they drop things that are truly astounding and horrifying and just move on? Why?
Look at the C word. Look, everyone, most people fell into line, and most people just, when it was over, most people have gone on and kind of forgotten it like it never happened.
They are powerless. Nope. No. No one told them to care about it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So there could be, I mean, how many times has this happened to you? When you read something that comes out that's just jaw-dropping, and you think, my God, this is going to change everything.
Like this. This is jaw-dropping. It's going to change everything. It's not even on the headlines in most of the newspapers yet. It might end up there, but it's not there yet.
And it just blows past. Just doesn't exist. It's just like it never was. This happened a lot. It happens a lot, right? So many times. You think, oh my God. What was the first time for you guys? What was the first time where you're like, oh my God, this revelation is going to change everything? Yeah, Iraq War II, WMDs. The fact that they spent 17 years and trillions of dollars to replace the Taliban with the Taliban, but a much better armed Taliban now. Not controversial. These are just facts, right? Yeah, Podesta emails, origins of war and child abuse, bomb in the brain, NSA spying, the revelations, WMDs, right, the stuff that came from Snowden, the stuff that came out of Julian Assange, right? And you think, my God, this is so huge. This is going to be a turning point. It's going to be a big change, right? Yeah, Epstein. the fact that the British media was covering up repeated rape of children since the 1970s. The Biden.
I'll tell you what really, by the way, now we're on this subject, what really, I think, radicalized me was when my daughter came home from school and told me the school wanted to take her fingerprints. Because up till then, all this conspiracy stuff had been very abstract. It had been like it's been almost entertainment for me. Then suddenly this new world order and everything associated with it is dumped right in my lap into my own life, affecting my nearest and dearest. Yeah. And it didn't just wash over me. It changed me. It changed me forever.
Laptop, yeah. Jeffrey Epstein, all of that stuff, right? Yeah. And you think, my God. I mean, I can't remember, many, many years ago. I think it was before I even did the show. I think I'm sorry if I get the details hazy. It's been a long time. But the State Department was hacked and the sort of personnel files were leaked to some hostile foreign actor, or they got a hold of them. And this is all the stuff like, tell us all of your dirtiest, darkest secrets so that we know you can't be blackmailed, or if you can, or whatever, right? And I was like, okay, well, so that whole department now has become kind of pointless because compromising material has fallen into the hands of the enemy, blah, blah, blah. So you just sit there and you go, oh my God, like society can't continue with this new revelation. It can't continue in the same shape. It can't do it. You know, it's like somebody running with the bulls. They get gored up the ass and they just keep walking, just keep running. Hey, I'm fine. Yeah. You know, all the people who've committed obvious crimes, documented crimes, just get away with it, right? So the UFO thing, the only reason that people will think it's important is if they're repetitively told that it is important. Right? That's the only reason. If we find proof of UFOs tomorrow,
yeah, we
and
have.
the media just moves on, what will people do? What will people do? What will they do? Just move on along. Yeah, just move on. Just move on. How many prominent, powerful people were compromised by Epstein?
Yeah, I think you get the point, don't you? He's basically saying that, I mean, and to be honest, if I was writing Roswell Rising today, I'd write it slightly differently. Because if you read the book, you'll know that when disclosure actually happens, there is a massive international freak out. And Rhiannon says, do you mean, all right, Balloons says here, all right. Trust me, people will turn Thunderdome real fast if aliens show themselves. Well, you see, in this book, as you know, there is a period. It doesn't. I mean, people recover from it, but there was a period where that actually happens when people discover they're not alone in the universe and the government has lied to them about aliens. However, if I were writing that book today, I'd write it slightly differently, because I do believe that should this happen, probably about 5% of people would freak out. There would be a small minority for whom they would consider this something terrifying, and they would probably express their fear through anger, like people do, and there'd be a riot of some kind. On the other hand, there'd be a minority like myself who would be delighted. However, 90% of people probably would simply go about their business without, unless the media, like I said, depending on how the media portrayed it, they would just go about their business. If the media told them to be scared of aliens, they'd be scared. If the media told them not to be scared, they wouldn't be scared. If the media didn't mention it, they wouldn't think about it. And unfortunately, Stefan is right with most people. We've had decades, more than a century, the best psychological warfare experts in the world have been employed for the purposes of controlling society by making people think and feel in a way that the government want us to. Like I said, when it comes to the best psychological warfare experts, I knew one of these people. She was a horrible, horrible person. Steve Mumbling is here. Hey, Steve Mumbling has made it. Thanks for getting up so early, Steve. Proof of UFOs is one thing. Proof of alien spacecraft is something else entirely. Well, yeah, technically, Steve, proof that there are things in the sky that can't be identified, well, that's already happened. But what are they? According to David Grusch, they are alien spacecraft, see? That's the whole point. All right, and Rhiannon says, I disagree, Ben. I think the majority of people would not be able to cope, and there would be carnage and chaos, and the end of civilization as we know it. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't think so. I mean, it all, like I said, all depends on how it's portrayed. I think that would happen if there is some kind of attack, some kind of violence involved, the disclosure triggers some kind of response from the ETs, or there's some kind of fake response engineered by the government. In other words, fake alien invasion, which would result in a large amount of destruction. People, I think, would behave pretty much like they did after 9/11, but far more extreme. I think that would happen. So well, anyway, we may well find out pretty soon. But I think I would write this book differently. I would write slightly differently. Just the first, maybe just chapters 4 and 5. I'd probably write slightly differently. You know, I've never seen a Mad Max film. Never. I've never ever seen. What's this? Phuket says them new glasses give 40% more credibility. You've calculated it very precisely, have you? Alan continues. It's far outside most people's comprehension. That would induce total panic. If it was portrayed as something fearful, yes. It all depends on how it is portrayed. And we've seen so far it hasn't reached the headlines. It has not reached the mainstream headlines yet, this story we've been talking about this evening. This doesn't mean it can just go away, and it won't. It won't just go away. But it will... it could be that this could be the first stage in something that's going to happen next. In fact, it has to be. I can't see how what's happened in the last 24 hours cannot have some kind of effect. It's going to have some kind of effect on other people. And David mentions the Brookings conclusion. Yeah, the Brookings Institute and what they said, that they actually they didn't specifically recommend a cover-up, but they did suggest that should someone get the idea of having some kind of cover-up and suppressing this information, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Steve mumbling. To claim an alien spacecraft, there would have to be tangible evidence, not just science fiction stories. I'm having my breakfast, off to work for 7 a.m. Bye-bye. Bye, Steve. Thanks for tuning in. And you know what? That's actually true, Steve. You're actually right. And that is what we're kind of talking about, aren't we? Stephen says, you know me. You and me know it's a fear-based society. Oh, yeah, it is very much so. Anyway, guys, I can't think of anything else to add right now. I've got a feeling I'm going to be coming back to this subject, but anyone else want to say anything? And then we'll call it a night, I think. Shall we? But this is fascinating stuff. This is just made my jaw drop when I discovered this. It made me go, wow, what? What the hell? I mean, all these words. It's almost like the very words he's using, the very way he speaks, saying, it's not none of this. Well, are there alien spacecraft? I can't confirm or deny that yet. We just have a lack of information in this area. It may indicate something or other. He didn't say that. He said yes, they're alien spaceships. He said yes, they're alien spaceships. And of course, we now know. I think it's inconceivable that the evidence he's talking about does not exist. There's no reason why he would make this up, unless it's some kind of massive distraction, which, as I've explained, is not feasible. I believe that's not feasible. So where it goes from here, I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to call it a night, I think. Hugo Rune, thank you for joining me. 69 Phuket. Can't imagine your jaw dropping. Too many supporting chins, you cheeky bastard. See you, David. Thanks very much. Egg in the face. Red Cat Goblin, thank you very much. Diego Rivera. I don't have to click these things to say good night to you all, but 69 Phuket, DRSY or Doctors Y, I don't know how you pronounce that. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks for sharing your information about your sighting. Stephen Truth Seeker, thank you very much. Rhiannon Jones, thank you. Night Night Rhiannon, Night Night DJ B2. Redcap says, I'd love to buy you a pint sometime. Thanks, Ben. Well, Redcap, if we ever meet, I'm not going to say no. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Stay alive, all we need you. Yeah, absolutely, Redcap. Yeah, thank you very much. So, yeah, it's interesting. DRSY says something interesting here just before we go. It's like dangling a carrot for the donkey. Of course it is. But that doesn't mean there's nothing real at the end of it. Yeah. Can you wear purple next time? Oh, God, I don't think I've got anything purple. But Night Balloons. Thanks very much, Balloons. 69 Phuket. Good night, David Schultz. Thank you very much, David Schultz. Much appreciated, mate. Yeah, thanks. Watch the skies. Yes, watch the skies, but keep your eyes on the ground as well. See you guys. See you, Balloons. See you at 69 Phuket. Take it easy. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Fascinating, great, amazing times. This is kind of an emergency live stream to discover this, to talk about this thing that's just suddenly dropped into our lap. And I don't quite know what to make of it yet, but it just seems on one level too good to be true. But on another level, I can't quite see how it could be anything than what it appears to be at face value. We should know more. Hopefully we will know more in a few days or a few weeks, in which case there'll be another live stream. I'll probably use the same picture behind me. Night, guys. Take it easy. Thank you very much, all of you who've contributed to the live chat. And thank you everyone else who's watched now or on the recording.